Dance tunes, you know. But whatever, the essence of R&B, it's not even R&B anymore. I wouldn't even call it R&B. But regardless, between all of this stuff, there's always that good stuff. And he brought up, Hyperdub is a label that I've respected for a long time. They're kind of like, when I was, you know, kind of getting heavy into electronic music as far as playing it, Warp was my favorite label. And still to this day, Warp is one of the best labels. I mean, the Flying Lotus, you know, everything that they're putting out at the moment is fantastic. Broadcast, whatever. And even back then. Hyperdub is one of the best labels right now, and it kind of is Warp was the blueprint for Hyperdub, basically. So Hyperdub's kind of like the new Warp for the new generation. And everything that's coming out, Burial, which is what lifted Hyperdub to where it is. Burial is, I don't really consider it dubstep, but I think that was kind of the essence of where dubstep was going. It was kind of the blueprint for what it is. It's more of a minimal soundtrack, cinematic.
Post-rave music.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, if you're smoking weed, it is fucking out. The best group, best guy ever.
The British guys usually describe it as the music you hear on the headphones when you're commuting back from.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it would definitely.
That's classic for them. You have an hour on the train or going somewhere.
So Hyperdub put out these great releases, and Code 9. He had done an essential mix, which is for BBC, and he had put one of my songs on there. I have a group or a project called Floston Paradigm, which is all analog synths and super geeky science fiction stuff. And I had put it out. I had a label called Saturn Never Sleeps, a project that I did with an ex-girlfriend, and he put one of the songs on the project on his mix. And I was like, oh, cool. And I contacted him. I was like, thanks for doing that, you know, because I respect his label so much. And we stayed in contact, and I did this. I did like 2 or 3 demos under this project, and I sent it to him just so he could play, or if he wanted to play it. He's like, I want to sign this. I was like, really? Because, you know, it's such the young people, I didn't know they were going to be into this type of sound. He's like, yeah, so we put the EP out, and it did crazy amounts this year, and it was one of their top releases. And so now I'm doing an album for them, all analog, well, mostly analog.
As that project?
As Floston Paradigm, yeah. And yeah, I'm working with this opera singer on it. She lives in Philly, and her name's Pia Ercole. And if you Google King Britt, opera or whatever, you'll see there's a video, or on my site. But she's amazing, right? So it's kind of like if you ever saw Fifth Element, did you see it? Yeah. So that scene, that one scene, that's the whole album I'm doing is like, that's the inspiration for the album.
Cool.
So yeah.
Agozi, have heard the remix you done for Josh 1. You're gonna hear it, but I remember when you played here like 4 years ago at Barzilai. I told you, man, please play the Josh 1. Where I never asked for something, but I told you, listen, this is the biggest classic. And you go, what? I forgot about it. Can you burn it to me?
No, this was a huge record.
Huge record.
Everybody
King, you already played first at Alman 17, right? In Jerusalem.
Yeah, 10 years ago.
Yeah, years ago. Oh, you were there? Oh, shit, you're showing your age, man.
It was on the radio. I have this recording of it.
This? Oh, what?
The party.
The setup.
Technology. This took an hour to make this record. I'll explain to you how.
The best. You know what you're doing.
It was an accident, I'll tell you.
Yeah, but it's like a well-pitched technique, like the chords.
That's what. Yeah. This is the Flower remix.
You know, so the Robot your remix of the Philadelphia Experiment has a similar melody line to this.
Right. The string.
Just on the
Yeah, and the string thing. whole track was like, all right, the original is this guy Josh One from LA.
I might have the original even.
Super cool cat. It's a reggae tune. He's like, oh, could you do a remix? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what am I gonna do with it? Because she couldn't really sing too well. And we didn't have like the pitch thing, like now you can fix vocals. But so I just took Open Up Your Mind, that's what kind of stuck, and built the track around it. All MPC, the whole thing. Well, the bass is Moog, but then I sampled it, put it in an MP. The budget wasn't big at all, so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do an hour on this one. Sorry, Josh. Well, no sorry, because he should have paid me some more. It was a huge record. My advice, if you're producers or remixers or whatever, now I make it a practice, but always try your best to get publishing on your remixes if you remix somebody, because you're really creating a new track. This song was so big, like, I can't believe how many it sold, and then licensed, and then commercials, and the deal I did was a favor to him.
$500.
Well, a little more, but just a favor. Like, all right, Josh, we'll hook it up, and then it was huge, and I never got any compensation. And I'm not mad because I should have been proactive for that, but just warn it. Just any producers out, just make sure you got your publishing on your shit. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna feel like, you're gonna, it's such a big, you put some time into it. But then the strings, I was working with Larry Gold, who's an amazing string arranger in the States, on Remembers Only album, and I pulled out a session and looped it, and then
from an old.
Yeah, it just took. Some records come like that, and some just take.
You can hear those that come like that.
Yeah.
Usually are the
raw,
best
it's
ones.
raw, yeah.
Let's play the track of the.
Oh, this one. So this one is. Well, I'll explain it later. This was fun. This is on Hyperdub. One Code 9. It was on Saturday Never Sleeps first. Right. Oh, Black Catalog. Oh, yeah. Monty, he grabbed it real quick.
Yeah, usually relation.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's a hard name to say. Lost the start.
Right.
Code 9 can work a dance floor with this.
Yeah, you can.
Code 9
you can drop it. It's just gotta be the right time.
Yeah, at the right time, it's
But
the record that someone remembers from a party.
Right. But the intention wasn't for dance floor. It was like my love of science fiction movies, John Carpenter and that sort of thing. But this whole track, that's a DR-110 drum machine run through a Moog. Run through a Moog Sonic 6. It has an audio in, so I'm running the drums in, playing the bass all live into Ableton analog. So the drums and the bass are together on one track, and it real crunchy, the drums, and that's overdubbed with a mini Moog and tracks done. And I was just really in a dark place, and sometimes you need to, when you need to get something out, you just do it hopefully through art and not through drugs or alcohol or whatever. And I do it through music.
Was it done subconsciously, or how was the project like you worked? Because the name itself is not King Reed.
Oh, the name came from Fifth Element.
Fifth Element.
Floast in Paradise is the city.
Yeah, where
that
they go in the ship. Yeah.
Exactly. But I had said Paradigm by accident, and my friend was like, "Oh, that's cool." I was like, "All right, it's that simple."
They
It
could sue
wasn't.
you, you know.
They could have sued.
Yeah.
So luckily,
You think so? No.
It's Hollywood.
no man,
They
you
sue.
never know.
There There's so many records called Are You Talking to Me? I don't think
That's true, yeah.
Scorsese ever sued anyone. You were talking about how you stopped being involved with Ovum in 2002.
Yeah.
And then you had like 2 years where you exploded everywhere.
Yeah.
You produced hip-hop on BBE. I can
Yeah.
you wanna show?
That's a favorite of mine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me as well. So you produced this one, and you did the Josh one
Yeah.
remix,
Gus,
the Gus, and
Flower.
and also the Scuba project, which
Right.
really introduced Broken Beat, and this was all within
The
like
old Scuba. There's a new Scuba.
yeah, not the Scuba from Hot
it's a
Flash.
different guy.
And he's cool. He's great. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so was this only from your free time when you got
That's
out
what I'm
of the label?
saying.
Yeah?
I left the label and it was like, no, I didn't have to deal with business because we would deal with Sony and we're on the phone like they didn't get it. Cursing them out, lawyers like, yeah, fuck this shit. So I just left and then I just like to do music. The business part we all have to do to a certain extent, and what it's beautiful now with technology, like you can have a Bandcamp or top spin page, whatever you need to do. You can have a little store, market it to your crowd, Facebook, whatever it is. You build your niche market, and you can do it now. You don't even need crazy budgets anymore. It's beautiful.
Yeah, but all over those 2 years, you weren't really in a niche. You were in like 5 different
No,
niches.
but no, what I meant was I wasn't stuck in business.
Yeah,
And then I just was like, every day I can do a
so
new
it
song.
freed your time and freed your
Yeah.
mind also.
Exactly.
But how can you focus on so many genres? I mean, and be very good at each and every one of them, but
It's
how
just,
can you focus?
It's just a gift, I guess. I mean, it's like musical schizophrenia. Like I love music, and I'll do it each genre till I get it right. You know, put it that way.
I have a question. As you say, you used to be the A&R for Tower Records.
Well, buyer, yes.
The buyer.
Yeah.
The guy that selected the record that will come in. Things really changed since then in the industry, but maybe there's a lot of people here making music. Maybe you have some tips for people how to reach out. What's the best way right now? What's your tip for people that making music?
Research, like, what are your favorite labels? Who are your favorite producers? What are your favorite sounds? Like, everything's on the internet. It's so easy now. Back in the day, it was like, oh, do you know such and such? You know. Now it's like, okay, you go to the label, say if it's Warp, they have an info, you know, who to contact. They listen. People listen. I mean, most A&R, all they do is sit and they click the mouse all day. They're listening to stuff. The problem is breaking through the noise. Like, how do you... me alone, I don't even really have a label. I kind of, but not really, right? I get demos all the time. I get at least 60 or 70 a week demos. Just listen to this, listen to this, listen to this. And I do, because I'm on an airplane, I download them all, and I put them in my iTunes and listen to demos, right? Because you never know, man. You're going to hear, like, some amazing things. And that's what people do, like, all day. So what's going to make your demo more push through the noise? Some people don't listen to everything. So, I don't know. I mean, it's just, how are you going to send it? Maybe if you get their physical address, do something special physically, like burn a CD, and I don't know. But you gotta like think creatively how to break through.
You gotta put a sex tape on it as well.
Well, that would work. That would work. Depending on who it is, but
Aside from the
Have you produced the drum and bass tracks?
what is it?
Have you produced the drum and bass?
No, I was always scared, man. Like I did one track on the Inspirations CD with Victor Duplay. We were just messing around with it.
This one.
Yeah, but Digo, like,
The Scuba.
I've known Digo and Mark for Hero since the beginning, right? And Goldie. I'm not touching that. And I'll get cursed out.
This is very
You
technical
did it fucking
genre.
wrong. You did it. Yeah, it's just like I didn't want to touch
Yeah,
that.
they're very technical dudes with an
Yeah,
ethos
dude,
about how you do it.
So I just was intimidated. I never did drum and bass. But I love drum and bass. And I love the more textured stuff. You had a question?
Yeah. Aside from the mistake or the lesson you learned from not getting publishing with the track with Josh, is there something or a project that taught you a lesson, the hard, hard knock somewhere, where you say you regret not doing something or regret doing something?
I hate to say regrets. Like I kind of look at everything as the way it should be, right? Life, right? Lessons learned and whatever. The closest thing to a regret would be this Josh one thing. Just because I just feel, because I did a favor for this guy, Josh One from LA, not Josh Wing, Josh One. People started to get mixed up. Because I did a favor, I just felt, when you do things, good things for people, never expect anything back. You shouldn't. You should just do it because you love to do it. But in this case, it did so well. I just figured, you'll throw a few.
Did anything change in your approach to production over time?
Oh yeah,
The way
man.
you approach?
Yeah, I'm super geek, right? So when it comes to technology and all that, like, I'm all about just the geekiest shit, right? So I started collecting synths in high school, and I had just the Tascam and like the little QX5 Yamaha sequencer, and from there I got a Mac Classic, and I was using master tracks like to sequence. And so as technology evolves, your technique evolves too, and then you start to try different things. And so like what I use now, I use the Monome a lot. Monome is a very cool MIDI controller that it's OSC, Open Sound Control, which you can actually build in a Max MSP, any type of software. You can make it do anything you really want it to do. And now with Max combined with Ableton Live, I can use this machine within Ableton. I couldn't do that years ago. So just with these little pieces of technology, my approach is different. Same with, I do these sample packs. I just did a volume 1, I'm doing volume 2, all based on, the new one is all iPhone loops. But just doing crazy loops, and you're limited. When you're limited to certain parameters, you get more creative. Sometimes we have too much shit. It'll take you an hour to EQ a kick drum. Like, I can't do that. Like, each project I limit myself. Like Flowston, it's all analog. I'm only using Mini Moog, Mono Poly, and this drum machine. Or with a hip-hop project, it's only going to be the MPC. Or this project is only going to be iPhone. So you got to kind of set parameters, and then it pushes you to do things you normally wouldn't do. So like Brian Eno with the oblique strategy cards, you get stuck. Back in the day, he had these deck of cards. You can get them online. There's an app for it on iPhone, but you get stuck, and then you pull one of these cards, and it tells you like, eliminate everything that you thought was positive, or it gives you these weird little philosophical things, and you're like, oh, okay. Or it'll say, take everything and start over, or things like that, and then it pushes you to do different things. Or John Cage, a lot of his pieces, he would set these parameters, and these compositions, they weren't compositions in the sense of notes. They were compositions in, okay, you get this is a composition for 2 dancers and a violin, and these are the rules, and then you create within those parameters, and it really gives you a whole new way of producing.
So also in terms of time, how long would you allow yourself to work on the track? Or just...
It depends. Yeah, it's different with each thing, but if in a day I'm not feeling, it's out. or I just put it in a box. Because sometimes you go back to it a year later, it's like, oh shit. You know, because maybe that day it was a bad day, you weren't feeling those sounds, or those sounds creep into your subconscious years later or whatever.
You come from the sound or from the melody?
Sound first.
The samples or
or
synths.
just sound, yeah.
Sound.
Like even environmental stuff, loops of cars.
So the sounds create the music for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you don't improvise? Like, do you improvise?
Yeah. Oh man, more and more, because now, like, when I DJ, I had some technical issues yesterday, not so much with software, but their electricity. But regardless of that, like, I use Machine and Ableton, and I can remix on the fly, I can add beats, I can do all kinds of things that I normally couldn't do.
This is the
when
way you
DJing.
play now, with Ableton and Machine?
Yeah.
No, like
Well, and a
laptop
keyboard,
software
sometimes
or
a
something?
keyboard. Huh?
You play, you DJing with the Ableton? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Some people say,
that's exactly what I was thinking yesterday going home. I was thinking, you're improvising every day.
every day, man.
Like, unbelievable.
Right.
It's
And
never sounds the same ever.
Right. And even more now, just because I can have bass, you know, I can have stems. Like I have my sample pack in there. Every time I do a remix, I make loops, so I can pull any loop at any time
and
from a
use
remix.
friends, like,
Yeah, exactly. So I have like 3 columns, which would be 3 crates. I got about 3,000 songs in there, and I switch them out not switch all of them, but I bring new things in every week or whatever. And at first, I had fought with this for a while, because it's like coming from DJing vinyl and stuff, like, oh, it's cheating, like, whatever. And then it was Francois K that was like, yo, King, like, you've been mixing since the 80s, like, fuck that. Like, do other things. Do other things to be creative. Like, Francois, he's one of my heroes, man. Like, I play with him quite often. And he's using Tractor, but he uses the 4
like
tables.
Remix decks.
Right. And he syncs it, and then he can do other stuff. He could never do all of that stuff. Maybe he could, but, you know, now it frees him up to do other things. So.
And you work in Ableton, all of the tracks?
Yeah,
you set
it's
them up
fun.
For like 3,000, all of them?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is over time, like, you build up, and he's asking about warping, like, yeah, it's just part of the process. It's like, and then when you warp it, you listen to the whole thing, you learn the track. Back in the day when you get vinyl,
there's the stop and
you listen to the whole thing and like, okay, there's the break, whatever. So it's the same. It's like, it's actually a form of meditation in a way. Like, all right, I'm gonna warp it, listen, have some tea, chill, go warp another one. So it's like a day. I kind of structure things. Mondays is I'm putting things in, warping, whatever. Tuesdays I'm making loops and things for different projects. So like with Flowstin, I'll take synths and make loops. On Tuesday I just make loops. Right? I take my Nintendo DS, I'm making loops, I'm running things, I'm having fun. It's like having fun. Yeah. And then the next day I take those loops and then I start to make songs from the loops. And then maybe the third day I kind of start to structure them. And the fourth day, hopefully, the song will be done. Or I'll have a bunch of blueprints at least, and then I can go back the next week. And
what about mixing and mastering and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mix pretty much all my own stuff. I'm learning to master, but
all in
I
Ableton?
think I should leave that to the master.
It sounds like there's a conceptual connection between the limitations you're imposing on yourself while doing musical projects. Like, you're doing the hip-hop stuff, you go the way hip-hop is, or a lot of hip-hop is done, to the MPC.
Right.
You're doing this electro techno stuff, so you're with the analog stuff.
Right.
That's how it works.
In a way, yeah, definitely.
Like you did the first Silk 130, which is
live music,
live and samples,
right,
and samples of. So that's, you think is it important having this knowledge about music that you're doing, where you're working, in which area you're working?
For me, it's important just because I always think it's important to know the history of where the music comes from. You know, a lot of the kids today, they don't look at the history. now that could be good because then there's a hybrid of music that happens.
Fresh ideas.
Yeah, like yeah, exactly, fresh ideas. But if you approach it, I'm 44. If you approach it from old school, like, you know, like I know my blues, I know my electronic history, you know, I know this and that. I kind of become a purist in a way. So I'm like, well, if I'm gonna do an acid track, I need a 303. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't use an emulator. You know what I mean? Or whatever. I'm starting to break free of that just because there's so much great software out there. And each thing has its own identity as far as sound is concerned. So it may be, okay, if it's not the 303, let's create something new with another piece of gear or whatever. So.
How much was learning musical appreciation, how much did it contribute to the person you are, to the musician you are?
Oh man, it was
because they took it out of schools anymore, especially in black schools.
Yeah, it was the end. It was because that was the pivotal time where I found my own identity as a kid going into teenage. You know, from 12 to 14 was such an important time for music for me. And starting to go, I mean, you're gonna laugh, but you know, I love like Journey and you know, I love going to these shows, man. Like in Philly, it was like everyone. I remember going to see, I don't know if you saw it, but it was the Police, the Go-Go's, Madness, and In Excess at JFK. And it was like $8. I went to Live Aid.
On one bill.
We stood in line, huh?
On one bill,
yeah. These were shows back in the day. They used to do these big shows, and then Live Aid. I'll never forget being at Live Aid. I mean,
I was there too. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was just, and the second one, but it wasn't clear, nowhere near the first.
When you in the studio, okay, there's some different niches, different methods of producers. They go out. They sit down for a picnic, they hang around, and then they come back and then they do a track. And there are the geeky ones, they sit all day, punching with the loop all day. I mean, what is your approach for that?
I like to eat. You like to eat? So, I'm the cat that goes, where did we go yesterday? Stephen
Brown.
Yeah, I'll go to Stephen Brown. Have a salmon steak. Israeli couscous, and go back to the studio and work. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, but I'm geeky too, but I come from the physical feel.
Yeah,
I'm more a feel dude, so I'm not so meticulous with editing and that sort of thing. Yeah. I like more live. When you were saying improvise, that's why I love Ableton. It's like,
work on Ableton.
Yeah, you just do it, and then worry about it later. You know what I mean? So.
How many usually channels your projects are? Or what?
Yeah, maybe max 20.
20.
Yeah, sometimes I don't even get that close. It depends on the project. Like with Flowston, I'm only using 3 synths. Few overdubs, so I may max maybe 9, because my drums I'm using Machine now, and I bring my own drums in. Sometimes I use theirs, which are amazing, but I'll group them because I always found from the MPC I never separated kick, snare. I always would group it all because you lose.
On one channel, you group on the
stereo
beats,
group.
Then one click, it's like.
Yeah, it's just.
It's a drum track.
There's a glue. There's a glue, yeah. Sometimes I feel like when you separate it, depending on the project, I lose that glue. So I'm still in my MPC head when using Machine.
Which is quite the same, basically.
Yeah. So I keep Machine, I bring in as a plug-in, and it's all on one. Even though I have them separate in a group, just in case I need to tweak. Not EQ, but bring levels up and down. But on the main channel, I'll EQ and then compress and do shit on that.
And when you perform, you also have it as a loop, or you have like snare and kick separate?
No, when I play live, it's all in one group. I could change the levels if I choose to, but usually I don't need to. It's all on one channel.
But do you set certain effects on the snare or on hi-hats?
No,
Parts?
mostly dry, unless it's a special kit with it has stuff already on it. But I use the APC, so I have like delays and all kinds of shit I can quickly go to and just affect that channel. I try to make it as intuitive as possible without having to go all into the computer.
Would you switch to new Ableton device? Like new push?
I'm working with it now, but I don't have it down yet at all. So, it's dope. I mean,
I want it.
It's crazy, man. I mean, it's not. It'll be out in 2 months. It's crazy. It's smaller too, which is convenient with traveling and stuff. Yeah.
In the same way, it persists you to work with Ableton drum kits, because I prefer working with native instruments better, and in means of switching sounds, I see you have to go back to drum kits of Ableton and drum rack of Ableton. So in some ways, they kind of manage you to use their own instruments.
Well, I use Machine as a plugin in Ableton, so I have my groups already. Like each night, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna use these groups, 8 groups, and that's it. Usually 909, 808, some hip-hop kits, and that's...
so you already set with the drums here.
Yeah.
Okay, before we finish, maybe you can tell us more about your upcoming project, what you're working on right now.
Oh, okay, yeah. 2 things. So, right now I'm working on, remixes and stuff, always, but Floating Paradigm, which is the all-analog science fiction-based project for Hyperdub, and that should be out maybe the end of the summer, hopefully. And then I want to play live, maybe come back and do some live shows with visuals. I've been working with a visualist out of Portland. His name's Mike Todd, which is amazing. We actually did a gig last year in Desio, Italy, where we video mapped a castle and performed in the castle. They do this every year. It's a video mapping thing where all these video mappers from around the world do the castle. You get a 3D image of the castle and you work on it at home, and then live it's like, you know what video mapping is, where you can map the video to any part.
Analyze what you're screening on.
What is the connection with the music? I don't understand.
So I did all the music live using Monome and drum and Machine, and then he video mapped it live.
Nice.
And it's on my site. You can see some of the results of that. But I'm moving more into that sort of performance presentation thing. So maybe with Floston, I'll be doing more visual. With the opera singer, live, analog, and screen. Maybe we'll do it here, or not in this room, but
the big room, probably.
Yeah, but it's expensive though, because I want to keep it mostly analog.
What about live musicians?
I mean, for Floston, I'll probably maybe need a keyboard player, just because I couldn't do everything, but mostly I can do my Howard Jones thing where it'll be everything. But I always love playing with live musicians. I mean, when I DJ in the States, I try to bring percussion or keyboards or something just to keep the organic thing going and the spontaneity going. But when you travel, sometimes there's no budget to do that.
String section.
But now that you're here,
too big.
So, and then I just finished another project for a label called Data Garden. They're out of Philly, where each release is also it's all kind of related to nature and technology, and each release is plantable, so you can plant it. It's a flower, so each release is a flower. So I just did a release called The Bee and a Stamen, and it's a journey of kind of what it sounds like for a bee to pollinate through the city. So it's like 5 songs, and it's all sound design, headphone music, and it's really fucking tripped out.
What format it is?
You download it.
Download it and?
Right, and then the cards, you can order cards if you want that you can plant.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's cool.
I was gonna say your music is. You're always talking about visualization. You gotta do a soundtrack one of these days.
Well, I worked on I do a lot of commercials like L'Oreal, Paris, and Rolex and shit.
Nice.
They're all, most of them are on my site, you can see. But also I did some underscoring for Miami Vice. And,
Wow.
for Michael Mann.
For the
But I
movie.
want to do more. But
Big
the problem with that shit, man, is like, a lot of times, like, the director will have a vision. I never had this problem. I'm lucky, right? But, certain directors have a vision, and they're the producer. You're really a puppet. Unless they really appreciate your sound, you become like, well, I want this change, da 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 da, which is, there's a give and take, but sometimes it's like, it's too much of a headache for what they're paying you. So it's like, nah. But if they come to you for a sound, like Michael Mann came to me because he heard the Sister Gertrude Morgan project, which was a big kind of blues, gospel project that I did for Preservation Hall. Big NPR kind of adult.
Beautiful project.
Thank you. He heard that, and that's what he wanted. So we created 10 scenes for that movie and underscored those scenes based on that vibe of the Sister Gertrude. And I did True Blood, the TV show, and they used one of the songs for that. So it was like, when they come to you that way, it's cool. But if it's more of a headache, and I don't have time for that shit, dude. I want to just be creative.
So does the music always have a beat, or?
No. Like this new, the ambient, the B thing is no beats.
Also the Floss and Paradigm, there's the long track, the down-tempo one, which is almost...
ambient, yeah.
Okay, let's hear something more.
I played with just to have a beat when we leave, the track from the Oba Funk album.
Oh, cool.
That was a big favorite of mine, just to, I don't know, demonstrate another side of...
This was a kind of Afro-futuristic project, which Zap Mama's on it, Wumi from Soul to Soul, Uzumaka, who was from Philly, who now lives in London, and Doc Gibbs did all the percussion, got cut up and stuff. But this, you're gonna play the title?
Uzumuka?
Yeah, Uzumaki. So this is about one of her friends that had AIDS. But fun album. But thanks for coming. Thank you for listening to me ramble.
I dey waka down the road. I dey cry and cry. I dey sad.